Okay, so I'm sure you guys know why you're here. It's in the title, it's in the thumbnail. And I just want to say right away that I swear to you I had no idea this was going to happen this soon. I made a video literally yesterday talking about how G2 are going to lose monesy, and this is the end of G2 as a top 10 team in Counter-Strike. And not even 24 hours later, a blockbuster report from Nell, furthered by HLTV, we are going to see monesy play on FALCONS with Niko for the Austin Major. What? And I mean this with every ounce of my chest. The fuck? Welcome back to the channel. My name is LionHeartZ, your local oracle, here to make predictions in the tea leaves. Next up, FaZe are winning the Austin Major. Alicia's gonna drop 100 kills in every game. It's gonna happen, I believe. Anyways, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm and helps me reach my goal of reaching 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I immensely appreciate it. And finally, before we get into this crazy news, I would like to thank today's sponsor. That's right, this video is sponsored by Skin Club. They're one of the most popular case opening sites in the scene with over 100 custom cases backed by their provably fair system. You can open cases individually or wager your winnings against other users in case battles, either with players around the world or privately with bots if you want to avoid being smurfed outside of Premier as well. But wait, there's more. Skin Club runs monthly events with free rewards to earn, free daily cases, and if you don't like what you earned, you can always go for a cheeky little upgrade to get something you do. If you want to play on Skin Club, you can do so at the top link in the description down below and get a 7% deposit bonus when you top off your account with credit card, crypto, or the 5,000 Peach 50 sand dunes in your inventory. Please gamble responsibly and only do so if you are over 18 and live in a country or jurisdiction that doesn't restrict gambling. Gambling can be an addiction, and you should never gamble for the purposes of making profit. Only wager what you are comfortable losing. If you or a loved one are suffering from gambling addiction in the US or Canada, you can reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER toll-free to get help. I want you to be safe and healthy always, so seek help if you need it. And thank you to Skin Club for sponsoring this video. Alright, well, this all starts with this bombshell report from Nell over on Twitter, and if you don't follow Nell on Twitter, you should. There have been some questions in the past about some of his reporting. Some of the moves didn't always materialize afterwards, but since this has gone through him and then also been reaffirmed on HLTV, I feel very confident in saying that this is going to happen. My general rule of thumb, and this has happened with other player moves we've covered on the channel, is if HLTV covers it, it's because there's a good reason. Like, HLTV rarely misses on those kinds of reports, so we're going to operate under the assumption that this trade is absolutely happening. Here are some relevant things to consider. Reading directly from his tweet here, according to my sources, all this should happen quickly as monesy has reportedly signed with FALCONS and will join the team in the next few weeks before the Austin Major. He logically replaces the team's sniper, Degster. It would appear that FALCONS' continued interest has managed to tip the balance in what appears to be a multi-million-dollar deal and the biggest transfer in Counter-Strike history. So yeah, it finally happened. The money was finally enough, and with G2 continuing to go downhill, see yesterday's video for that, monesy will be moving to the evil empire. Yeah, obviously my feelings of FALCON as an organization are well known, fuck them, but we're going to simply observe this based on the Counter-Strike. The players at the end of the day cannot control, well, to a certain extent, what their organization does. They're just here to play the game. And what else are you going to do? The Saudis already own basically everything in Counter-Strike and most of esports. You know, living in the woods is not an option for me yet, at least if I want to cover Counter-Strike. We're just kind of screwed in that regard. Anyways, let's take this first from Degster's angle. In this report and also on HLTV, there's no clear indication that Degster has an immediate offer to go somewhere else, nor has a replacement for G2 been reported on or announced by either organization. So as of right now, we don't know what's next for G2, whether they'll pursue Degster just to fill the slot through the major, go somewhere else. Who knows? G2 are now 4 men and 4 men only, and they still have Snax. So, yeah, it's Jover. Degster, I do think he will find his way onto another team rather quickly. As well, he's a very inconsistent player. He does still have many great upsides. He is, if nothing else, one of the very few players in the world who can truly take over an entire game by himself, as we saw multiple times last year with Heroic. He was definitely not that great during his tenure on Falcons, but how much that is due to just variance or the team not really adjusting, it's really hard to say. Degster is a fantastic opper, someone who's definitely within the top 10 best oppers in the world, so there are going to be teams who want him, and he'll find a team in no time, I'm sure. Okay, but enough of that. No one cares about G2 anymore. They're dead in the water. Let's go ahead and focus on Falcons. Does this make Falcons a top 5 team? Yes. Yes. This may shock you, but yes. This is going to solve so many of Falcons' biggest issues. And Falcons' biggest issue among those was that they were Niko or nothing. Let's just call that what it is. Degster was far too inconsistent, TeSeS is an entry at the end of the day, and Magisk is an anchor. He's at a support stage of his career. He's not going to carry matches other than just the odd 1 out of 10 performance. So this was reliant on Niko continuing to be a top 5 player in the world, which so far he has been. But at the end of the day, Niko's getting older. He needs help. And he had a lot of help in G2 last year from guess who? monesy. monesy clearly works well with Niko. There have been some, kind of conflicting reports about how much this brother family narrative between the two is really true. But other than that, they have a high volume of games played together, they know how to synergize around each other's playstyles, and that means that embedding monesy into this team should be significantly easier than getting any other player in the world. And at the end of the day, monesy is still a top 3 player at worst in Counter-Strike, and he is by far the best opper you could possibly get on the market, because you're never getting ZywOo. This makes Falcons incredibly deadly, and if TeSeS can kind of get out of his slump he's been in for the last few events, get back to his high entry success rate, this makes Falcons incredibly dynamic and aggressive on paper, something that I think plays well into Kixan's system of calling. Now, Kixan is kind of my other big concern because the calling from Falcons to start off this year has really not impressed me. Now, I'm going to give a few caveats for that because Kixan is still a younger in-game leader, and we know that Niko is such a heavy force in secondary calling. You're also working with Zonic, arguably the greatest coach of all time. So I'm willing to give Kixan the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's kind of dealing with a lot of pressures within this team. The expectations for any Niko roster is win tournaments. You need to be putting up deep playoff runs to even matter, and for Kixan, that's gotta put a lot of pressure on him. So I think that this will give him an opportunity to settle down. He has more aggressive, reliable elements, especially around the op. I am willing to bet that Kixan's calling will improve and he can return to some of the form we were seeing late last year from Heroic. I guess really the question we have to ask is, what is the ceiling for Falcons now? Let's take a look at their firepower compared to the other big hitters in the scene. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big 3, Mouse, Spirit, Vitality, in that order. Against Mouse, I do think this gives Falcons obviously a much better lineup to try and win that matchup. monesy is going to be better than Torji. Niko is going to match up very well against Xerxan. The question there, I think, is going to be the depth. You really need TeSeS and Magisk to not have a bad game, in my opinion. That, or you just need a hyper carry from monesy or Niko. Because what Mouse are really relying on right now is that every one of them is a shooter. They are just going to be spread very evenly, so even if Xerxan has a bit of a tough game, maybe Torji, Spinks, Jimfat, Brolin can make up the slack, right? So if Falcons really have to rely on Niko monesy 2v5ing, I do not think they'll be able to win that matchup, but I would give them the edge overall because I just rate the quality of Niko and monesy higher than their 2 best players. When it comes down to Spirit, I also think that's a very favorable matchup. Shiro and monesy was an interesting debate that we were having within the community. Would monesy be better alongside Donk because he's just better than Shiro straight up? Those questions, of course, no longer matter. So when it comes down to the matchup, we know that Niko has a great matchup into Donk. How much of that is just small sample size versus Niko just being a master? A little bit of speculation there, but I think Niko is very well at adjusting against other aggressive riflers. So if Niko continues to be able to neutralize Donk as effectively as he has been, then yeah, Falcons can beat Spirit. I don't see why that's at all not within possibility. monesy just gives them a much better shot because Degster would not do well into Shiro because of his inconsistencies. The real question mark is Vitality, and I think that gets really, really interesting. I need to double check the numbers, I don't have them at hand right now, but I believe that monesy has performed well in his head-to-head matchups against ZywOo previously. So while ZywOo is incredible, playing as the best player in the world right now, I do not think monesy falls that far behind. So what about the rest of the matchups? Well, Robs is an incredible lurk player, but will he be able to step up alongside Flamesy and augment the raw rifling output from Niko? I think that those two could combine, more often than not, to be too much for Falcons to deal with. I think Falcons have a good shot to give Vitality a close game, but I do think that this still maintains the status quo. Vitality are by far the favorites in any series they play right now, and it's going to be an uphill battle for any team to contest them. But you do have one edge, and that's the X factor that both monesy and Niko are certified big game players. Whereas I really do not know how much to bet on Xerxes and Torzi in a grand finals against Vitality, I do believe in the ability for monesy to have that big game in a pivotal moment. I do not think it is that outrageous to say that if Falcons hit the ground running, the tactics shape up, and TeSeS can still show better form entering, then that would make Falcons right away a threat to win championships. Will they be able to realize it in a short time frame? I do think that that's a bit of a question mark. I think it's very reasonable to expect that Falcons will need 3, 4, maybe 5 months to be able to adjust to this team, but sometime this year, Falcons will be a true title contender for the first time in frankly the organization's entire history. And while obviously fuck the org, I am excited to see these players actually compete and play winning Counter-Strike because I like the individuals. Niko and monesy are very fun players to watch, and Counter-Strike is a better product when they are on good teams, and I'm just glad that monesy's out of G2 jail and we can all dance on the grave of G2 because Pekka might be the dumbest manager in the history of sports. Anyways, we'll keep it short for today. I had no idea I'd be making this video. I was working on another project. But news is news. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you take a second, leave a like, leave a comment, and make sure you to the channel to help me reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. It helps out immensely. Thank you to Skin Club for sponsoring this video. You check the top link in the description. You get a 7% deposit bonus the next time you fill up on their website. Please gamble safely and responsibly. Thank you to Skin Club. Shout out to my channel members: Justin, JesseTiv, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1 Games, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vegt, Snowy White, I'm Flashbang, Rowdy, Vergil'sPlasticChair, and Sid Pro 12. If you want to become a channel member, you can just hit the link in the description down below for all to get name of the video just like this, as well as a custom roller community Discord. Follow me on Twitch.tv/LionHeartZ CS2. Woo!